Okay, so welcome back to my channel. I am Jason, and this is from Sinn's Perspective Reviews. And I was going back and forth on whether or not I was going to continue reviewing the series because the time kind of got away from me with work and class, and my class has just recently ended. So now I have time. So I thought, okay, let me knock these let me knock the rest of these 5 episodes out. And so you're going to see the next the remainder of this series basically with me wearing exactly the same thing. So, okay. I'll get that out of the way. Okay, so this is episode 6, season 2. This is Insatiable, season 2, episode 6, Eat and Run. Okay, so it picks up where the last episode left off, where Patty saw Magnolia and Brick kissing. Okay, so of course he noticed it, and of course she walked out. He ran behind her trying to explain, and his explanation was some bullshit. I mean, even though we know it was true, but that's not anything anyone would really believe. I was doing it for you. She was helping me become a better kisser, And then he basically had to tell her what the deal was. Like, you want to know why it's so easy for me? We get along so well is because she actually listens to me, and she doesn't turn everything around and be about her. And of course, while he's saying this, Patty's eyes glazed over because she's in her own head about, again, her. Because Patty is just a narcissistic bitch. Okay. But she has a lot of problems. But she's a narcissist. Okay, so in the end, they break up. She still doesn't want to be bothered. And then in her mind, because in her mind, it's not about anything that she's done. It's that he wants Magnolia because Magnolia is thinner. Did you see the narcissist? It's never about them, anything that they've done wrong. It's always about other people. Okay, so that's Patty. Now, so they part ways. And Armstrong, he's at his mother's grave. Which, remember, in the last episode, his father told him that your mother, had mental problems and she committed suicide. And so he's at his mother's grave kind of reflecting on his own attempts, several attempts that he had, and how his mom leaving him impacted him, and how he was going to do the same thing to his children, and how he was going to be a better father. So Armstrong, he makes it home, and she's going in to talk to Brick, and Brick tells him that him and Patty broke up, and he's like, oh. His response was not the proper response. So his response was, is Patty okay? And so Brick is like, okay, I knew you was going to make it about her. I knew you was going to take her aside. And he's like, I'm not taking her aside. I'm like, that's not a response that you would have when your child is telling you that their heart is broken and that they just broke up with somebody. Your concern should not be for the other person. And so, of course, Brick, he was just like, you know what? Good talk. And he walked out. And so, again, Bob is kind of reflecting and like, oh, he wants to be a better father, but he just doesn't know how to show up. And he kind of understands his father a little bit more. And so he decides to go and sit down with his father. And his father basically like, you know what, that public apology makes you look like a real pussy. His father just shoots from the hip. He just doesn't care. And he said, yeah, there was people, my buddies, it was all laughing at it. And, of course, Bob is like, okay, it was nice talking to you, Dad. He said, but, I wanted to talk to you, but I don't really know if I want to do it now. Because his father was sitting there clowning him about the little public apology. But he said, he thanked his dad for being there for him in the best way that he could. And they had a little heart-to-heart. And they tried to come up with a place where they can kind of meet halfway. So he's like, yeah, you want to go? The dad is like, do you want to go to, I know this great, this stripper place that they make great waffles. So it's waffles and big titties or something. He said, you still like titties, don't you? And Bob was like, yeah. Or, we have a pageant coming up. You can come to a pageant. And the father's like, that's never going to happen. So it was a kind of heartfelt, but then it was kind of a funny moment as well. And so his father, basically was talking to him about how, how he felt about his mom passing, and how he thought that she would be okay. And it was a big case, and how he thought, it was only a few hours. And when his mom eventually committed suicide, and Bob was the one that found her, and he was there. He said that you were there for like 30 minutes trying to wake her up. And the dad was like, I guess neither one of us could save her. And so Bob starts reflecting on Patty, like, okay, the last time Patty had a breakup or, heartache or whatever, she kind of goes off the rails, as we see. And so now he's like, okay, Dad, you know, I have to go. And so they have this kind of awkward hug, and he left. So Patty's now at the gym because her goal now is to, in her mind, because she's no longer fat, but she's still, in her mind, she still sees herself as overweight. But she's killing herself in the gym because she's gonna show Brick what he's missing and this whole thing, right? And so she's back home and she's sitting down with her mom, and they're about to have breakfast. And mom made waffles or something. She's like, I can't eat this. I have to. She's got to have to make egg whites. And so her mom, they were talking. And her mom was like, you know, I'm really sorry, you know, because she's still upset that her mom has never really been the kind of mom that she should have been. And so she was apologetic and, you know, I'm really sorry and I'm going to do better. And, you know, I'm proud of you and I want to be there for you and and the whole thing. And so it kind of looks like they might be moving towards some type of middle ground on that. And so after her mom left, because at this point when her mom was there, she was like, I'm just going to make some egg whites. So her mom left, and then all of a sudden her binging starts, her temptation starts. So she like, oh, egg white's not going to be enough, so she grabs a yogurt. But then the yogurt, she throws in a handful of Cocoa Puffs. Excuse me, I don't know why. Excuse me, oh my goodness. She throws in a handful of Cocoa Puffs, and then she's like, okay, she did that, and then she's added more and more and more, and then she takes the whole bag of Cocoa Puffs out of her box and just turns it up and downs the entire thing. So now she's like, okay, I'm just going to go to the gym, and I'm going to burn this off. Bob arrives, and he's like, he went to say, I just wanted to make sure you were okay. And she's like, that's fine, I'm fine. So she's trying to rush to the gym so she could burn this food off. And he's like, well, no, because we still have to discuss the talent for the competition. So now she's trying to rush through this to try to find a talent so she can make it to the gym because she wants to, because she thinks that's going to burn off what, you know, all the calories she just ate. And she finds out that, okay, everything she came up with was just some craziness. So they end up going to the gym. So she's, you know, with the bands doing his thing. He's like, oh, this is, you know, we need to do this more often. So she's on the treadmill, running on the treadmill. And so this guy walks up, Jim, he looks like Jonathan. He looks like he worked there. He had some kind of t-shirt on. He's like, okay. He said, so, hi. So the way he walked up, she thought he was trying to hit on her. And he was like, you really need to adjust your gaydar. He was gay. He's like, wow. He said, you know, he's basically telling her too much cardio is not good for you. And she's like, oh, no, it's fine. He said, so you did 3 hours this morning on the bike and now you're back again on the treadmill. And he was just basically like, take it easy. But Bob, he was too far away. He didn't hear that conversation. So he left and she got off and was like, okay, well, we can go now. He was like, Bob was like, I don't know if I should tell you this, but that guy was gay. And she kind of just looked at him like, okay, whatever. So, Patty and Armstrong, they end up going to the Wiener Taco. I'm so sick. That name, Lord, the Wiener Taco. And so Dixie decided to, because she's now found out that she's Korean, to embrace what she considers embracing her Korean roots. And so everything is all bright and kind of K-pop-ish. And so they walk up like, what is going on? And of course, Dixie's like, well, this is me embracing my Korean roots. And Bob was like, this doesn't look anything like Korea. Like, what are you trying to do? And so bio bro walks up, Henry. That's how he introduced himself. I'm her Dixie's bio bro. And so you can see that there was some attraction there. But Bob Armstrong, he just pulled her on to the side like, okay, so we have to go. And so they're sitting down to talk. And Angie her mom walks up because that's where her mom works. And she basically breaks the news to Patty that she's not going to be able to be at the competition. And of course, Patty's like, okay, wait a minute. We just had this whole discussion about you doing better and da-da-da-da. And she was like, and not letting me down anymore. And she was like, it's not that I'm going to do this. It's like, Dixie has us working and I need this job for us so I can support us. And Patty is just, you know what, whatever, just give me the keys. So you got the car keys. She said, the least you could do, if you can't make it to my pass, the least you could do is find a ride home. So Patty leaves, she takes the keys. And Armstrong was like, should I go after her or should you? And she was basically like, no, we just have to let her go and she'll figure things out. And so Angie sits down, and next thing you know, you're looking at, I mean, she was that kind of moving like, you know, a dog that hits an electric fence. Dixie has them wearing these ties that if they sit down for more than a few seconds or something, it electrocutes them. And these mofos actually wearing that shit. So, so Angie sits down, and next thing you know, she's like, and Bob is sitting across from her like, oh my God, are you okay? And she's like, yeah, I'm fine, and whatever. So, that was funny. Angie's car, so Patty's outside and the car wouldn't start. And so, bio bro, Henry, he walks up and he's like, okay, so what's going on? He's like, the car wouldn't start. He popped the hood. Oh, the car, this wire or whatever was loose. Try it again. He said, well, yeah, I'm about to head to this place. You can come if you want. If you give me a ride. And so she goes to this place. It's a little club. And next thing you know, the song starts. And what do you see? Bio bro Henry on the stage shaking his groove thing for some change. Okay, so he put on a show and the girls are going crazy and da. And so after, she was like, what are you doing? I said, oh, how are you pre-med, he's pre-law, and you're a stripper? And she was like, why are you doing this, to pay for school or just to piss your mom off? He said, well, pissing my mom off is an added bonus, but I just like doing it. It actually has boosted my self-esteem, because statistically, Asian men, and we get a bad rap for being these kind of dorky, geeky guys. And even on dating sites, we're the last pick because people have this image of us. And so it's hard. Oh, I'm coughing so much. And so it's hard sometimes to date. It impacts your self-esteem. And so doing this has actually helped boost my self-esteem. And so Patty was like, okay, do you think that it will work for me? Can you help me? And of course, Armstrong shows up. And he's like, what the hell is going on here? And she was like, well, I think I just found my talent. He was like, you're not gonna strip. He's like, no, she wanted her talent to be dance. And he was like, okay. So she asked Henry if he would help her come up with a dance routine. And he agreed to do it. So Brick is over at Magnolia's house, I believe. And they started talking. He wants to talk about the kiss. But Magnolia was like, it was what it was, but I really just want to be friends, and I just want to focus on when she was getting her application, her stuff together to apply for college. And so Brick was like, he wanted to become, because of the kissing videos helped him. He thinks what he wants to do with his life is to become an influencer, but he's now trying to come up with, like, what his focus is going to be. So he's now working through that. So Barnard and Coralee, they're on the phone. And Barnard is saying, well, Rudy invited me over to his apartment, and I don't know if I should go. And I know it's going to be like a rebound, but, I'm entitled to that, da-da-da. And then, Coralee hears the noise. And so she tells, Barnard, I'll give you a call back. So she's trying to follow the noise, all this thumping and all this craziness. So she kind of pushes her clothes back on the clothes, and she sees like this space here. And who busts out the damn wall? Vagina. She's like, what the hell are you doing in my damn house? Why are you in my walls? And she was like, well, I know you've heard that I kidnapped Dixie. And she said, yeah, I heard. She said, I'm about to call the police, Coralee. She's like, well, if you do that, then I won't give you the name of our investor. So she gave her this little post-it with Shelby's name and her number. And before Coralee could blink, Vagina was gone. She was just like a puff of smoke. She was like, she was there, and now she's not. So now she's like, what the hell? So Coralee's like, who is this Shelby person? So she called the number. It's the something state of correction. She was like, oh, hell no. Coralee's like, this is a damn crook that you done got us in bed with. So we'll come back to that. So Barnard, he makes it over to Rudy's house, and we find out Rudy is the cop that Armstrong slept with that one night stand he had from the guy he met in the gym. That's Rudy. So, but Barnard doesn't know that. So Barnard shows up, he brings a bottle of wine, and Rudy is like, basically, oh, I'm glad you brought that, but I'm not sure. This is, it's basically work. He's still working on connecting the cases, these, murders. And he admitted that Patty is his #1 suspect. And of course, Armstrong, Barnard is like, there's no way in the world Patty's a serial killer. Like, he's known this girl his whole life, but no, that's not true. And so he's saying that he wants Barnard to step in to help him because Barnard knows the pageant scene, and it would help him kind of divvy up the suspects. And so he got a hotel room for them at the event. And so Barnard's like, oh, okay. So Barnard is probably hoping something happens between him and Rudy, but Rudy's like, no, I'm trying to crack this case. Okay, so Bio Bro, so they have their first lesson, and it's some kind of routine. Of course, Barnard is on hand, and he was like, Patty, it's not difficult. So he tries to do his little do the routine, and Patty's like, just leave me alone. Like, why are you here? And so Henry mentions capoeira, and she's like, so he explains to her what that is, and that's what they're going to do, capoeira. So she comes up with the capoeira routine for her talent. And so, okay, they've done that. She has her talent. She's all set for that. And so now you see her, she's at home and she's packing and she's talking to Nonnie. And Nonnie is basically like, oh, it's kind of quick. You know, you just broke up with Brick and now you're kind of on Henry. And it seems like you're replacing one addiction for another. And of course, you can't tell a narcissist anything because they just... this shit go one and out the other. She's like, well, no, it's not that. And which it is. She's replacing food with Henry, with her addiction to Henry and how Henry makes her feel. So, and she's like, well, what about you and D? And, you know, I can't believe you and D has been together 3 months and you still have your V card and this whole thing. And she's like, well, it's not my fault. You know, she's always putting me off and this, that, and the third. And so Pat was like, well, why don't you surprise her and maybe, you know, take some toys or some, you know, lingerie, something to spruce things up. So next you know, it's a big noise at the window. It scares them both. It's Henry. He climbing through her damn window. So now Henry and, so Nonnie was like, well, I'm going to make my exit now. So she left and Henry and Patty can now be alone because the whole time they were together, Armstrong made sure to be in the mix to diffuse whatever they thought was about to go down. He's like, nah, we're not doing that. So, so now they're finally alone. And they sleep together. And she overslept. And so next you know, mom's knocking at the door. She's looking at her phone. She sees a text message from Armstrong saying, I'm on my way. It's the day they're supposed to leave for the pageant. So they eventually walks in. Armstrong and Angie, her mom, walks in. They see them in bed together. And he was like, oh, I just can't believe this. And he turns to Angie. He's like, I can't believe that you allowed this. She's like, I didn't know this boy was in here. She didn't. He climbed through the damn windows. Now he came to the front door. Patty said something to Angie about, well, it's not like you care. And so she walks out because she's still upset that she has to work. She's going to miss the pageant. And so Armstrong said, you go and apologize to her. She was like, I'm not, you know, I'm upset. She keeps saying she wants to be better and she keeps missing this, that, and the third. And he's explaining to her, you know, what's going on. And she said, well, mom's not coming, so Henry can come. And Armstrong was like, no, the hell he is not. And you get yourself together and meet me downstairs in 5 minutes. So he going on to close the door, went downstairs. He starts talking to Angie about, you know, how, you know, Patty didn't mean it. And, you know, she's going through a rough time. And, you know, parents, you know, we make mistakes, but we have to learn from those mistakes. And, you know, just talking to her. And so eventually she comes down. She's ready to go. And her mom was like, you know, I know you're going to do great. And, you know, keep my fingers crossed. And Patty just kind of rolls her eyes and walks out the door. So that's how that was left. So Nonnie, she decides to take Patty's advice about surprising D. But she probably get a little surprised. And I was like, oh, the minute she said, I was like, oh shit, because we already know something's going on with D. So she goes to D's house, but she sees D leaving. D is getting in her car, and she's driving off. So Nonnie's like, okay, well, where is she going? So now Nonnie is following D. And God only knows where that's going to end up, where that's going to lead her to. Okay, so we're back at Wiener Taco, and Angie was basically like, I need the weekend off. And Dixie was like, well, no, She's like, I can't, you know, it's Patty's pageant, and I can't miss that. I can't miss anything else of hers. I need to leave. And so Dixie basically said no. And so Angie quit. And then so everybody else started quitting. And so as people were walking out, Henry walked in. He's like, what is going on? Why is everybody leaving? And he basically talked to her. She was like, well, I just wanted to embrace my career routine. I just wanted to be a part of the family. And Henry basically said, you are part of the family. We came all this way to get you, you know, because you are our family. Like, I don't, like, he's trying to say, what is it about that you don't understand? And so he's holding her hand, and she was like, are you sure we're brothers? Dixie is just sick, like, Regina. Oh, Lord. And he's like, you sure we're brothers? Because you are really hot. And so he kind of like had this creepy, like, look, and he's kind of slid his hand away. I'm like, girl, you just, oh, Lord. Okay, so Brick made his YouTube channel, made a YouTube channel. He's made a video. And his first video was like, good guys versus bad guys. Good guys do this, bad guys do this, good guys do. And so he showed it to Magnolia. And then Magnolia, she kind of giggled a little bit. And he was like, well, I am being serious. But she was like, you know what? It suits you. It's good. It suits you. Okay, so Armstrong and Patty, so they arrive at the event, and he's looking at the little, I guess the itinerary, I don't know what it is, and it's showing a woman named Gloria Reyes, and he's like, oh my God, Gloria Reyes, she's like one of the most popular judges, and she won Miss this, that, and the third, and so he's like having this whole thing over Gloria Reyes, and next you know, as they're walking, Gloria Reyes, you see her walking through the aisle. People are kind of like, all the contestants are kind of like moving out of the way, kind of looking at her, and it was kind of slow motion kind of thing. And so he said, I met her once, I'll introduce you. So he walks up, and he said, Mrs. Reyes, I am so. So she was like, are you the guy that parked my car? He's like, no, but I was a guest judge on it was some weird name, pageant. And while they were talking, Patty got a text from Henry, and she starts texting while they're having this conversation. She said, your client is very rude, Barnstrong. She called him man Barnstrong or something. She just mispronounced his name. And so they eventually say whatever, and they go their separate ways. And so they're back in the room, and he was like, you have got to do better. You know, I told you that when you go to the race, she acknowledges everything from the time the pageant, the contestants arrive. She's watching you, how you move, how you behave, and all that. I told you that. So this whole texting thing, you're going to have to write that some kind of way. So she comes out wearing her dress, and he's kind of like, okay, what is going on? Because the dress was a little too big. It didn't fit right. And he was like, okay, well, this fit a while ago. Why is this dress so big? So, he's like, oh my God, I'm going to have to see if the people at the desk can find a sewing machine, because the pageant is tomorrow. And she was like, well, that's a good thing I've lost weight. He was like, I never told you to lose weight. So she was like, well, I mean, it's a good thing I'm not binging. And it dawned on him. He was like, okay, she kept saying she wasn't binging. So he's like, okay, have you been eating? And he's like, she was like, what are you talking about? Basically, have you been eating at all? And so she's, her focus was she wasn't fat, she lost the weight. And his thing was, okay, when you go down to this meet and greet, because there's this meet and greet where the managers, or who I forget, they weren't allowed. It was just the contestants meeting with the judges. And he said, just promise me when you go down there that you're going to eat something. She was like, fine, it's fine. Just see if you can find the sewing machine. I gotta change. So he's like, okay. She's trading one issue for another. So, Patty goes down, and she sees Heather. If you remember Heather, she had this long name, Heather something Jackson something. Patty actually won that contest. So Patty was surprised to see her, like, I won the contest, so why are you here? She was like, oh, well, I entered into another contest and won that. And by the way, the only reason you're here is because you killed Roxy. And so all the other contestants were kind of like, yeah. So they had their little, tete-a-tete, and she's sitting there like, oh God. So now she's feeling like crap, and now she sees the plate of food. She's eating, and now her name is called to meet with Gloria Reyes one-on-one. And so Gloria Reyes basically gave her something like, okay, yes, I've been hearing about these rumors about you being that you killed Roxy and da-da-da. And she let me explain something to you. And she talked about a rumor when she was running, how she won. And it was basically people thought that her father was this assassin, and who's part of this huge drug cartel in the Philippines. And if he was an assassin for this drug cartel in the Philippines. I'm sorry, I can't talk. And if anybody ran against her and won it, they would be basically hacked to death with a machete. And so that's basically how she won. And so she was telling her how this rumor could probably help her win. It helped her. So basically she said she started that rumor about her father. And she said the thing is, after I won, nobody asked about my father again. All they cared about was the crown. So she was basically like, if you win, that's all people are going to know you for. And this rumor can only help you. She said princesses, what did you say? Princesses something, but queens take control. And so now, Paige now on her I Am Woman Hear Me Roar stuff. So she walks out like, I'm going to win this contest. So Armstrong, he finds a sewing machine. And he runs into Barnard and Rudy. He's like, what is going on with, why are you guys here? And basically they had their little chat. He's like, just stay away from my client. So he walks off and he goes into the meet and greet. Of course, Patty's already left. So Patty's walking to the room and she's all in her head about how she's going to win this contest. So she gets to the door and then she's about to put the key in. And then, you know, a figure appears behind her with a crowbar and he's about to knock her ass out. Now, we still haven't seen, what's her name? The other woman, Roxy's mom. I can't think of her name right now. But this might be her, how she appears by taking Patty out of the game. We don't know. And another thing, when Bob scanned the room, we didn't see Heather either. I was looking for her face when he walked into the room to scan it, and we didn't see Heather either. So, who could it be? Anywho, that is how this episode ended. I am going to, like I said, I'm going to try to knock these out all today, but between today and tomorrow. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.